Hello, YouTube. It was brought to my attention recently. I hadn't made a video in a while, not for lack of wanting to, um, but I mentioned to that person in the comments down below that my wife and I had taken on a pretty big project some years ago, a few years ago now. Looks like, well, looks like maybe back in 2015, 2016. Yeah, early 2016. And we've been working on it this whole time, and so I thought I'd share with you a little bit about that project and what we've been up to. I didn't make any videos as we went through, really. It was something I hadn't done before, um, which would have made it hard to make a good video about, and or a good set of videos even. And then also it just would have added so much effort and time to the project that we already knew was going to be very long kind of at the limit of what we could do that it didn't really make sense to try and add on to it in a way that we didn't need to. So let me take you back in time to January of 2016. So we had thought it might be a good idea or something we wanted to do to buy some property, and we'd initially thought of like an empty piece of land. The budget we were looking for maybe as much as 20 acres, depending on what and where. Idea being we could, take a pop-up trailer out there on the weekends or something, but we just kind of felt like it was time to own some land other than just what our house was sitting on. And so we looked at some different places and we're kind of seeing what was available near where we were in our price range that was kind of um, something we would be interested in. And as part of that search, we also entertained the idea of buying maybe a smaller piece of land with a building on it, like a pole barn or something, because that was a lot of what was coming up in our searches for um, land without a home on it, not commercial property or a farm or something like that. And so we also looked at some places like that, smaller pieces of land typically, to be within our budget and have a building on them. And it was as we were going through that search that we came across this one listing. This place had been on the market for quite some time, I think since 2014 or earlier. Put it this way, there were a lot of real estate signs sitting inside. Um, and as we got looking, the property was nice. It was only 2 acres. The building was about 1,500 square feet, I guess. It was pretty close to our home, which we liked. Um, but inside, the building was kind of a mess. What we learned later from the neighbors, and I don't know how much of this is true or this is just kind of what we pieced together, but um, I guess somebody had bought the land and paid a contractor to build the shell of the building, and then he was going to finish it out inside. And whether it was, a lack of money, time, talent, what, I don't know. But I guess the project kind of got away from him, or he bit off more than he could chew, and it never did get finished. And some of the stuff, that was done, we could kind of see that um, it was going to have to be undone and redone a different way before it was going to pass any kind of inspection. The people we bought it from, I think, had bought it from the bank. I think the guy ended up letting it go back to the bank, and then these folks bought it and had just used it as storage. They weren't trying to do anything else with it, I guess. And now they were looking to get out of it. And they knew that it was a difficult property to get somebody excited about, and that only certain people were going to be interested, and so it was priced accordingly. And we were able to um, come to a deal with them that we felt good about. And hard to say exactly what drew us to this property over some of the other ones that we saw. I guess We liked the potential of the building, like what we thought we could make out of it. We liked how it sat on the land. We liked where the property was and kind of got a good vibe from the neighbors. I don't know. We just felt good about it, and um, that was enough. And so we were able to make the deal work, and we bought it. So this is kind of what it looked like when we bought it. Pretty similar to the listing pictures. It was some trash and different things. The previous owners did take the engines out of there, and I think that was about it. They left the building materials and stuff. Um, so kind of the first thing we needed to do is look around and figure out what was good, what wasn't good. Um, Kind of make a plan, make a list, figure out what we were going to do with it. I think the original owner, not the folks we bought it from, it was kind of strange. There were places where there was drywall up, and then there was like OSB over top of it. Um, the pressure tank and stuff there's a well, um, and it's just kind of in an awkward spot. It seemed like maybe he had had a contractor put that in or something. I don't know. Um, but it had some good stuff we liked, like the insulated garage door. Um, the way it was laid out, I guess he was trying to um, get a certificate of occupancy for it as a house. And the way the zoning was, you needed quite a lot of the space to be considered like livable space, not a garage. And I think that the layout reflected his attempt to meet that requirement. It didn't really suit how we wanted to use the space, which was okay because the walls, what we found out is the walls weren't really secured at the top or bottom. Um, and so they needed to come down anyway, the interior walls. And the electrical in them was not something we were looking to save. There was like some unexpected choices made, put it that way. And there were a couple of windows too that looked like they had been added after the fact, um, and they weren't in locations that were going to meet code as far as I could tell. I think in the bathroom they had planned to put it was roughed in for a toilet, a lavatory, or a vanity, um, a shower, and then I think the plan was to have laundry facilities. Um, like I say, I think the guy was looking to live there. We didn't want to go that way with it. We didn't think of anything better to do with the shower than make it a shower. But where the laundry stuff was going to go, we decided to put a utility sink instead, figuring that would be a handy thing to have in a shop. There was the outside was pretty good. Um, there were some holes in the siding, I think, from rocks being thrown up by the mowing crew. Um, we were able to match it. It wasn't so old that we couldn't match it. The building was about 10 years old when we bought it. It's a little older now. Now the property it's on doesn't isn't suitable for putting in a normal drainage field, so you have to have like an engineered uh, septic field if you want one. But the because it's a garage, not a home, they had a previous owner had gotten a waiver, something, a dispensation from the county health department to put in a holding tank rather than a drainage field. So, if you're not using it much, it's fine. You have it pumped out once in a while, and it saves the expense of having an engineered drainage field put in for what would be very, very light use. They had to put that. It's crazy. It's a holding tank, which means you're gonna have to pump it out sometimes. But prior to us buying the place, nobody had put an access hatch in the top of it, a riser and an access hatch. It was just buried in the ground and good luck. Um, Turns out that the whoever the sellers had do this didn't do a real thorough job, and it leaked and filled up with rainwater. But we ended up getting that fixed later. Here's those windows. The one on the right, the problem with it is it's way too close to that gas meter to have an operable window there. Maybe even an inoperable window. I don't know. I'd have to look that up. And then the other one would have been too close to the exhaust from the boiler for the in-floor heat. That was one of the cool things I thought when we were looking at it, was that when they poured the slab, they had insulated under it and put in PEX pipe for in-floor heat, which I thought would be nice, being we're in Michigan and it gets cold here in the winter. So, and there's the keys. So it was all ours.
I had foolishly thought that this would be, a longer video, but one video nonetheless. But as I got into it, and, narrated it, and got going with it, I realized it was way too long to think anybody was going to sit and watch it all in one go. Well, I mean, maybe some folks will want to binge it, but I didn't think that that was a reasonable ask. And so I'm going to split it up into separate videos, and I thought this would be a good place to stop off. We just bought the property. Um, so I know this is different than the videos I normally do, um, but if you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. And if you have any thoughts or comments, please put them down in the comments. Realize, of course, that we've already bought the place, we've already renovated the place, and so we may not be able to take any tips or advice you give. But there's always other folks reading the comments, and they may really appreciate your wisdom and thoughts. We're certainly not experts on this, as I mentioned in the intro. It's just something we did, and something we've just wrapped up, and we're feeling good about and wanted to share. So, if this is the kind of thing you're into, I think I've got more of these, unless people tell me in the comments they're awful and nobody would enjoy them. But barring that, I'll have a bunch more. So if this is the kind of thing you're into, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you soon.